China has simulated invading Taiwan again and again, yet the world keeps treating it like routine military theater. Warships appear, fighter jets cross defensive airspace, missile systems activate, and then everything returns to normal. No declarations of war. No global emergency summits. Just another headline that fades within days. But here's the contradiction that keeps military analysts awake at night. If these exercises are harmless, why do they perfectly mirror real invasion blueprints? Every time drills begin, naval formations linked to China move into positions that resemble blockade strategies rather than simple training. Aircraft patrol routes map out air superiority corridors. Amphibious assault simulations rehearse landing operations. Communication blackouts are tested. And strangely, each drill becomes slightly larger, slightly faster, slightly more coordinated than the last. Which raises a dangerous question. Are these rehearsals, or incremental steps toward normalizing military encirclement? Official statements describe these actions as sovereignty protection. Beijing insists the exercises are defensive responses to foreign interference. But satellite data reveals a pattern analysts cannot ignore. Each simulation reduces reaction time between mobilization and operational readiness. In simple terms, every drill makes real conflict easier to execute. And that is where global tension quietly begins escalating. Behind closed doors, intelligence agencies within the United States monitor these exercises with growing concern. Washington maintains a carefully balanced diplomatic position. Publicly, it acknowledges historical territorial frameworks. Privately, it increases defensive coordination and arms support to Taiwan. This dual policy creates one of the most delicate strategic contradictions in modern geopolitics. If Washington openly recognizes Beijing's claims, why continuously strengthen Taiwan's defense systems? And if Taiwan is considered strategically vital, how far would America actually go to protect it? Those questions remain deliberately unanswered. Meanwhile, security debates intensify inside Japan. Japanese defense planners increasingly view Taiwan's security as directly connected to their own national survival. Discussions around missile deployment across southwestern island chains have accelerated. Military surveillance infrastructure has expanded. One small island suddenly became strategically explosive. Situated just over 100 kilometers from Taiwan, this territory transformed into a frontline observation outpost capable of tracking naval movements across critical maritime corridors. The moment defense installations were discussed there, Beijing issued immediate warnings. Why would such a small island trigger global concern? Because whoever controls those narrow sea lanes influences trade flow, submarine movement, and early missile detection across the entire Pacific. And suddenly, Taiwan no longer appears to be the only objective. It starts looking like the centerpiece of a much larger strategic chessboard. To understand why Taiwan holds such massive geopolitical weight, analysts began examining overlapping maritime disputes stretching across the South China Sea. This region contains some of the world's busiest shipping routes, carrying trillions of dollars in annual trade. Beijing has reinforced territorial claims across these waters using artificial island bases, radar stations, and extended naval patrol networks. Many neighboring countries dispute these claims. International legal rulings have challenged them. Yet military expansion continues. Which raises another unsettling question. Is Taiwan a territorial dispute, or the final missing link in a maritime control network? The deeper investigators dig, the more Taiwan appears connected to global technological dominance rather than simple geography. Taiwan produces a massive share of the world's advanced semiconductor chips. These tiny components power everything from smartphones and automobiles to artificial intelligence systems and advanced military equipment. Control over Taiwan would not simply change borders. It could reshape the global technology supply chain. And in a world increasingly driven by technological superiority, that kind of leverage carries enormous strategic power. But military and economic interests only explain part of the tension. The deepest fracture lies in political identity. Beijing views Taiwan as a breakaway province waiting for reunification. Taiwan operates with its own democratic government, elections, military, and currency. This dual reality creates a political paradox the international community has never fully resolved. Even global organizations like APEC reflect this ambiguity. Taiwan participates in major economic forums but often without recognition as a sovereign nation. Diplomatic language carefully avoids defining Taiwan's final status. And ambiguity, while useful for diplomacy, becomes extremely dangerous during military escalation, because unclear definitions lead to unpredictable red lines. Historical fractures explain why those red lines exist. After World War II, imperial withdrawals and internal Chinese civil conflict created competing governments, each claiming legitimate authority over Chinese territory. One established control over mainland China. The other relocated to Taiwan. Neither side abandoned its claim. Over decades, these competing narratives hardened into national identity foundations. Political leaders on both sides face intense domestic pressure to defend historical legitimacy. Compromise, therefore, risks internal political backlash, which makes peaceful resolution incredibly fragile. Another layer of tension emerges when observers examine governance shifts in Hong Kong. Initially promised high levels of autonomy under a special administrative model, political integration gradually intensified. That shift triggered international scrutiny and domestic protests. For many Taiwanese citizens, Hong Kong became a real-time demonstration of how autonomy agreements might evolve over time. Public surveys inside Taiwan increasingly show resistance toward reunification frameworks similar to Hong Kong's model. And that creates Beijing's strategic dilemma. The longer reunification is delayed, the stronger Taiwanese political separation becomes. But accelerating reunification risks international military confrontation. Neither path guarantees success. Meanwhile, multinational security partnerships like the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue continue strengthening coordination across the Indo-Pacific. Officially, these alliances promote regional stability and maritime security. From Beijing's perspective, however, they resemble containment strategies designed to limit expansion. That perception fuels accelerated naval modernization, missile development, and defense spending. And every defensive move by one side appears offensive to the other. The cycle reinforces itself. Which brings us back to the opening mystery. China has simulated invading Taiwan repeatedly, yet global reactions remain cautious, measured, and strangely restrained. Financial markets fluctuate but rarely collapse. Diplomatic statements remain carefully neutral. Military alliances quietly reposition without triggering open confrontation. The world appears calm. But beneath that calm lies a silent strategic countdown. Because each simulation refines invasion logistics. Each defense response sharpens counter-strategy planning. Each diplomatic statement tests alliance loyalty limits. These exercises are not just drills. They are rehearsals for geopolitical reality scenarios. And here is the deeper truth most audiences miss. The conflict surrounding Taiwan is not only about sovereignty or territory. It represents a convergence point where technological supremacy, maritime trade dominance, political ideology, and military balance intersect. Taiwan is not simply land. It is leverage over the global future, which means every warship approaching Taiwan's coastline is not just preparing for potential conflict. It is sending a message about power, a message about control, a message about who defines the next global order. And the most unsettling part of that message is this: the simulations keep happening, the world keeps watching, and no one knows which rehearsal might eventually become real. Hey, if you genuinely like my video, please like my video and subscribe.